What if the mark they called a curse was actually a mating bond from another lifetime? Rose thought she was just a servant girl, abused and forgotten. But when a vampire king arrives demanding her hand in marriage, she'll discover that the birthmark on her neck is more than just a scar, it's a claim, a promise, a destiny written in blood. She'll try to make herself ugly to escape him. She'll fail, because you can't hide a soul he's spent 20 years searching for. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens when a reborn queen meets the king who refuses to lose her twice. This is the queen he refused to lose. The bucket hits the floor before Rose even sees it coming. Cold water floods across the marble, soaking into her threadbare dress, into her knees as she kneels. Her stepmother's voice cuts through the morning silence like a blade. Clean it again. Rose doesn't look up. She learned years ago that eye contact only makes it worse. Her fingers are already raw from scrubbing these same floors. Since 4 a.m., the, mansion, her father's mansion, gleams like a jewel around her. Crystal chandeliers, imported rugs, gold-trimmed portraits of a family that pretends she doesn't exist. Except when they need someone to hurt. And Rose? Her stepmother's heels click closer. The guests arrive at noon. I expect you to stay in the kitchen. We can't have them seeing that. A manicured finger jabs toward Rose's neck. The mark. Rose's hand flies up instinctively. Clutching at the collar, she's carefully arranged to hide it. The dark birthmark that sprawls from her collarbone to behind her ear, a twisting pattern that looks almost like script, like a language she can't read. They call it a curse. A devil's mark, proof that she brought her father's death upon the family. The truth? Her father died of a fever. But truth doesn't matter when you need someone to blame. Yes, ma'am, Rose whispers. Her stepmother's lips curl. Ma'am, as if you have any right to my late husband's name. She turns, her silk robe sweeping dramatically. Vivian, come see what your stepsister has done now. Rose's stepsister appears at the top of the staircase like a vision from a painting. Golden hair perfectly curled, morning dress pressed and pristine. Vivian is 19, same as Rose, but that's where the similarities end. Vivian has everything. Rose has scars. Oh, Rosie. Vivian's voice drips with false sweetness as she descends. Still making messes? And here I thought you'd learn by now. She steps directly into the puddle, her expensive slippers soaking through, then gasps theatrically. Mother, she's ruined my shoes. Rose's stomach drops. I didn't. The slap comes fast. Rose's head snaps to the side, cheek exploding with heat. She tastes copper. Don't you dare talk back, her stepmother hisses. No dinner tonight, and you'll polish every shoe in this house before the guests arrive. Every shoe. That's 73 pairs? Rose counted once during another punishment. She nods, jaw clenched. Vivian smirks, then accidentally steps on Rose's hand as she passes. The crunch of bone makes Rose bite her tongue to keep from screaming. Hours later, the kitchen smells like roasted pheasant and rosemary. Rose's mouth waters despite herself. She hasn't eaten since yesterday's breakfast, a piece of stale bread she stole from the trash. Her hand throbs where Vivian crushed it. Probably fractured. She's had worse. Through the doorway, she can hear the guests arriving. Laughter, the clink of champagne glasses. Her stepmother's performative charm as she plays the gracious hostess. And of course, we're so hoping Vivian catches the eye of Lord Ashford's son. Such a distinguished family. Rose wraps her injured hand in a kitchen towel and keeps polishing. Shoe after shoe after shoe. She's on pair 47 when she hears it. Screaming. Not frightened screaming. Vivian's furious screaming. You embarrassed me. Everyone saw. Rose's blood turns to ice. She knows what's coming. Footsteps thunder toward the kitchen. The door slams open. Vivian stands there, face flushed with rage, her dress stained with what looks like wine. Behind her, several guests peek in curiously. You! Vivian snarls, pointing at Rose. You cursed me. I know you did. I felt it, this wrongness, right before I tripped. Rose didn't do anything. She's been in the kitchen for 3 hours. But that doesn't matter. Vivian, I swear I didn't. Liar! Vivian lunges forward, grabs Rose's collar, and rips. The fabric tears. Buttons scatter across the floor, and the mark is exposed. Every guest in the doorway gasps. Someone makes a sign against evil. Rose tries to cover it with her hands, but Vivian slaps them away, forcing Rose's arms behind her back. "Look at it," Vivian shouts to the crowd. "The devil's mark. She's cursed. She killed my stepfather and now she's trying to ruin me," the guests murmur. One woman faints. A man backs away, but one person doesn't move. A man Rose has never seen before stands at the back of the crowd, tall, dressed in black, eyes like polished obsidian, and he's staring at Rose's neck with an expression she can't read. Hunger, recognition, terror. For a moment, the world narrows to just him and her. His gaze burns into the mark on her skin, and Rose feels something she's never felt before. The mark responds. It tingles, warms, almost like waking up. Then Vivian shoves her, and Rose crashes into the cabinet. Jars shatter. Herbs scatter. "Get out of my sight," Vivian spits. "Go back to your attic, you freak." Rose runs. The attic is freezing. Rose huddles on her thin mattress. Really, just a pile of old blankets on the floor, and tries to stop shaking. Not from cold, from shock. The way that man looked at her. She touches the mark on her neck. It's still warm, still tingling. What is this thing? She's had it since birth. Her father used to tell her it was special, that it made her unique. But after he died, it became a target. Proof of her otherness? Rose crawls to the small, cracked mirror propped against the wall. In the dim moonlight streaming through the single window, she studies the mark. It really does look like writing. Elegant, flowing, almost beautiful. If you ignore what it's cost her, her fingers trace the pattern, and the world lurches. Suddenly, she's not in the attic anymore. She's standing in a grand throne room. Obsidian pillars stretch toward a vaulted ceiling painted with constellations. She doesn't recognize. Torches burn with purple flame. And on the throne sits a man. The man from the kitchen, but different. He's dressed in armor made of shadows, a crown of twisted silver on his head. His eyes glow crimson. He's staring at someone standing before him. Rose's perspective shifts, and she realizes she's in someone else's body. A woman's body. She looks down and sees pale hands, elegant fingers, and a dress made of midnight silk. And on her neck, burning like a brand, the mark. "My queen," the man on the throne says, his voice raw with emotion. "Please don't do this." The woman speaks, and Rose hears her own voice coming out. "I have to. The prophecy." "Damn the prophecy!" He rises, crosses to her in 3 strides, grabs her face between his hands. "I will not lose you. I cannot." "Lucian." The woman, Rose, touches his cheek. "This is the only way. If I don't go to the battlefield, then I'll burn the battlefield to ash. I'll slaughter every enemy. I'll raise their kingdoms to dust." His voice breaks. "Just don't leave me." "I love you," the woman whispers. And then the vision shifts. Blood. So much blood. The woman is dying, an arrow through her heart. And the man, Lucian, is screaming, cradling her body, and the world is ending around them. Fire and darkness and... Rose gasps, slamming back into her own body. She's on the floor. Her mirror is shattered. Blood drips from her palm where she gripped the glass. What the hell was that? A dream? A hallucination? It felt real. More real than this attic, than this life. She knows that man, Lucian. She knows him, even though she's never met him. And that woman? Was her? No, impossible. Rose wraps her bleeding hand and tries to breathe. She's had visions before, small ones. When she touches people, sometimes she sees flashes of their future. A gift she's hidden since she was 12, because gifts like that get you killed. But this was different. This was a memory that isn't hers. Rose looks at the mark on her neck in the broken mirror shards. For the first time, she wonders if curse is the wrong word entirely. She doesn't sleep that night. She sits by the window, watching the stars, trying to make sense of the vision. Trying to convince herself it meant nothing. Failing. Around midnight, she hears voices below. The guests are leaving, except one carriage remains. The black one. Rose's heart pounds. She creeps to the window, peeks down. The man in black, Lucian, stands in the courtyard speaking with her stepmother. Even from here, Rose can see her stepmother's greedy expression. What are they talking about? She strains to hear, but they're too far away. Finally, the man hands her stepmother something, a card, and leaves. Rose exhales, but then her attic door opens. She spins around, heart hammering. Her stepmother stands in the doorway, face calculating. Get up, wash yourself. Fix your hair. Rose blinks. What? You have a visitor tomorrow. A very important visitor. Her stepmother's smile is vulpine. And if you ruin this for me, I will make your life so much worse than it already is. Do you understand? Rose nods numbly. Her stepmother leaves. A visitor. For her? That makes no sense. No one visits Rose. No one even acknowledges she exists. Unless... Rose touches her neck where the mark still tingles. No, it can't be. Her stepmother wakes her at dawn with a bucket of cold water. Again. But this time, it's not punishment. It's a bath. Clean that filth off yourself, she snaps. And put this on. She throws a dress at Rose. It's old. 3 seasons out of style. And probably one of Vivian's cast-offs. But it's the nicest thing Rose has worn in years. Who's coming? Rose asks. Lord Draven. A wealthy foreign nobleman. He's expressed interest in marriage. Rose's stomach drops. Marriage? To who? Her stepmother's smile sharpens. To Vivian, of course. But he specifically requested your presence at breakfast. Some nonsense about meeting the entire household. She grabs Rose's chin, forcing eye contact. You will sit silently. You will not speak unless spoken to. You will keep that cursed neck covered. And if you do anything to embarrass this family, I will lock you in the cellar for a month. Clear? Yes, ma'am. But Rose's mind is racing. Lord Draven, the man from last night, the man from her vision. He's coming here. For Vivian. Rose tells herself she's relieved. Of course he's here for Vivian. Beautiful, perfect Vivian. Why would he want the cursed servant? So why does the mark on her neck burn like it's calling to him? An hour later, Rose sits at the far end of the breakfast table. Hands folded, eyes down. Vivian is resplendent in pink silk, her hair styled in elaborate curls. She's practically vibrating with excitement. Their stepmother has laid out the finest china, the best silverware, pastries that make Rose's empty stomach cramp with hunger. The doorbell rings. Rose's hands clench. Footsteps in the hall. The butler announces, Lord Lucian Draven, and he walks in. Tall. Commanding. Dressed. In a black suit that probably costs more than this house. His dark hair is swept back, revealing sharp cheekbones and a jaw that could cut glass. But it's his eyes that stop Rose's heart. Obsidian. Ancient. Knowing. He looks at Vivian. Nods politely. He looks at Rose's stepmother. Offers a controlled smile. Then his gaze lands on Rose. And the world stops. The mark on her neck burns. Rose gasps, hand flying to cover it. Lucian's eyes flash, just for a second, crimson. Then it's gone and he's smiling, charming, human. Good morning, he says, his voice like smoke and sin. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. The pleasure is ours, Lord Draven, her stepmother gushes. Please sit. This is my daughter, Vivian. Vivian practically preens. And this, her stepmother waves dismissively at Rose. This is my late husband's daughter, Rose. She helps with the housework. Rose, Lucian says her name like a prayer, like a promise. He sits directly across from her. Breakfast is torture. Vivian chatters endlessly, trying to capture Lucian's attention. He responds politely, but his eyes keep drifting to Rose. Every time their gazes meet, Rose feels that same jolt, that same impossible recognition. I know you. Finally, Lucian sets down his fork. Forgive my directness, he says, but I believe in being honest about my intentions. Vivian straightens, blushing. Of course, my lord. I've come to request a marriage. Vivian squeals. Her stepmother beams. However, Lucian's gaze locks on Rose. Not with Vivian. Silence. I wish to marry Rose. The room explodes. Vivian shrieks. Her stepmother sputters. Rose can't breathe. You can't be serious, her stepmother finally gasps. She's cursed. Look at her neck. She's perfect, Lucian says calmly. And she's exactly who I'm here for. He stands, walks around the table, and extends his hand to Rose. Rose, will you do me the honor? Rose stares at his hand, at his face, at the impossible situation, and hears herself whisper, Why? Lucian smiles. It's dangerous, possessive, eternal. Because, my darling Rose, I've been searching for you for 20 years, and I'm not leaving without you. The mark on Rose's neck burns brighter, and somewhere deep inside, a sleeping queen begins to wake. Lucian stands before her, hand extended, waiting for an answer she doesn't know how to give. Behind him, Vivian's face has gone from pink to purple with rage. Her stepmother looks like she's been slapped with a wet fish. Mouth opening and closing, no sound coming out. This is ridiculous, Vivian finally shrieks, slamming her hands on the table. The fine china rattles. You can't be serious, Lord Draven. Rose, look at her. She's a servant. A cursed freak with that hideous mark. Careful. Lucian's voice drops to something dangerous. He doesn't raise it. Doesn't need to. The temperature in the room plummets. You're speaking about my future wife. Rose's stepmother finds her voice. Lord Draven, surely there's been some misunderstanding. Rose she's not suitable for marriage. She has no dowry, no connections, no... I don't recall asking for your opinion. Lucian's smile doesn't reach his eyes. I'm asking Rose, and I suggest you let her answer. All eyes turn to Rose. She's still sitting, frozen, staring at his outstretched hand like it might bite her. Her mind is racing. This man, this stranger, claims he wants to marry her. Her, the cursed servant girl. It makes no sense. Nothing about this makes sense. The vision flashes through her mind again. The throne room. The dying woman. His anguished scream. I will not lose you. I need... Rose's voice cracks. She clears her throat. I need time to think. No. Her stepmother's voice cracks like a whip. You need to accept, you ungrateful wretch. Lord Draven has made you an offer that is far beyond anything you deserve. She said she needs time, Lucian interrupts, his tone now ice. And I respect that. He pulls a small black box from his jacket and sets it on the table in front of Rose. I'll return tomorrow. Evening at 7. You can give me your answer then. He doesn't wait for a response, just turns and walks toward the door, pausing only to add over his shoulder, And Rose? Whatever you decide, know that the offer stands. You will always have a choice with me. Then he's gone, leaving behind nothing but the lingering scent of something dark and spiced, and a black box that seems to pulse with its own heartbeat. The moment the front door closes, hell breaks loose. You selfish, stupid girl. Her stepmother lunges across the table, grabbing Rose by the hair and yanking her head back. Do you have any idea what you've done? He offered you marriage, wealth, security for this entire family, and you said you need to think? Mother, let her go. Vivian starts, but her mother whirls on her. And you, standing there looking like a kicked puppy. He chose her over you. How is that even possible? Vivian's face crumples, but Rose barely notices because her stepmother has released her hair only to grab her arm, nails digging in deep enough to draw blood. You will accept his proposal tomorrow. Do you understand me? You will accept, you will marry him, and you will ensure that this family benefits from your inexplicable good fortune. She shakes Rose hard, enough to rattle her teeth. Because if you don't, I will make your life so unbearable that you'll beg me to let you die. Are we clear? Rose's arm throbs where her stepmother's nails have broken skin. Yes, ma'am. Good. Now get out of my sight. You're not to leave your attic until tomorrow evening. No food, no water. You can spend the time thinking about how pathetic and worthless you are, and how lucky you are that someone is willing to marry you despite that curse. Rose flees. Back in the attic, Rose sits on her thin mattress and stares at the black box. She brought it with her, clutched it to her chest as she ran up the stairs. And now it sits in her lap like a small, elegant bomb. She should open it, should see what's inside. But she's afraid. Afraid that whatever's in that box will make this real, will force her to make a decision she's not ready to make. Her arm stings where her stepmother broke the skin. Rose touches the wounds gently. 4 crescents already bruising. She's had worse. So much worse. This is nothing. Except it's not nothing. Because for the first time in 8 years, someone offered her a way out. A stranger with obsidian eyes who looked at her like she was precious. Who told her stepmother, the woman, who has controlled every aspect of Rose's life, that her opinion didn't matter. You will always have a choice with me. Rose has never had a choice before. The concept is almost foreign. She opens the box. Inside, nestled in black velvet, is a ring. But not just any ring. The band is made of some dark metal, not silver, not gold, something else entirely. And set in the center is a stone that shouldn't exist. It shifts colors as Rose stares at it. Purple to crimson to midnight blue, swirling like a tiny galaxy trapped in crystal. It's the most beautiful thing she's ever seen, and the most terrifying, because carved into the inside of the band, in the same flowing script as the mark on her neck, are words. Words she shouldn't be able to read but somehow can. My queen, my soul, my eternity. Rose slams the box shut, her heart hammering. This is insane, all of it. A foreign nobleman appearing out of nowhere, demanding to marry the family servant, leaving behind a ring with words that match the mark everyone calls a curse. It's like something from the fairy tales her father used to read to her before he died. But fairy tales aren't real. Magic isn't real. And men don't fall in love with cursed servant girls, unless he is something else. Because she felt some strange power in his eyes when he stares at her, like a werewolf or some mystical creature. Rose touches the mark on her neck. It's been warm since Lucian arrived, almost like it's reaching for him. And the vision she had when they touched, the battlefield, the dying woman, the bond that glowed like starlight. That wasn't her imagination. She's had visions before, small ones, flashes of other people's futures when she touches them. But that vision had been different, stronger, more real. What if Lucian is telling the truth? What if there's something about her, about this mark, that's more than just a curse? Rose shakes her head. No, that's ridiculous. She's just a girl, a nobody, a servant who scrubs floors and eats scraps and sleeps in an attic. There's nothing special about her. The mark is just a birthmark. The vision was just stress. And Lucian is just a wealthy eccentric who probably has some strange obsession with collecting damaged things. If she marries him, she'll just be trading one prison for another. Her stepmother's house for his. At least here she knows what to expect. Knows how to survive. But with him? She'd be completely at his mercy. Completely powerless. The thought terrifies her. But then again, what does she have here? Pain? Hunger? Humiliation? No. Future beyond endless servitude. Until her stepmother decides she's no longer useful and throws her out. Or until Vivian finally goes too far and kills her in one of her rages. Rose lies back on her mattress and stares at the ceiling. Tomorrow evening, she has to give Lucian an answer. Accept his proposal and step into the unknown, or refuse and condemn herself to this attic forever. Some choice. Sleep doesn't come easily that night. Rose drifts in and out, plagued by dreams of obsidian eyes, sharp canines and burning marks and a voice whispering promises. She's terrified to believe. When dawn finally breaks, Rose makes a decision. She's not going to marry Lucian Draven. She can't. It's too risky, too unknown, too terrifying. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't, as the saying goes. She'll refuse him politely tonight, and she'll survive whatever punishment her stepmother deals out. She always does. But as the day wears on, as her empty stomach cramps and her arm throbs and she hears Vivian laughing downstairs at some joke while Rose sits alone in the freezing attic, something else begins to take root. Anger. Why does Vivian get to laugh? Why does she get full meals and warm beds and pretty dresses while Rose gets nothing? Because she's beautiful? Because she's legitimate? Because she doesn't have a mark on her neck? It's not fair. None of it is fair. And if Rose refuses Lucian, if she stays in this house, nothing will ever change. She'll die here in this attic, alone and forgotten. That's her future if she chooses safety. But if she accepts, if she marries him. Rose touches the mark on her neck. In the vision, the woman with her face had been powerful, confident, a queen. She'd stood beside Lucian as an equal, not a servant. What if Rose could be that? What if somehow this impossible proposal is her chance to become more than what her stepfamily made her? The thought is intoxicating and dangerous. By the time the sun begins to set, Rose still hasn't decided. Her stepmother sends Vivian up with a basin of cold water and a dress, one of Vivian's old ones, pale blue and only slightly worn. Mother says you're to make yourself presentable, Vivian says, not meeting Rose's eyes. Lord Draven will be here at 7. Vivian! Rose starts, but her stepsister is already leaving. Rose looks at the dress, then at the basin of water, then at her own reflection in the cracked mirror. Make herself presentable. As if a bath and a borrowed dress will somehow transform her into someone worthy of a lord's proposal. As if they can hide what she really is, a cursed, powerless servant girl with a mark that makes people recoil. And suddenly Rose knows exactly what she needs to do. If Lucian truly wants her, and not some imagined version of who she might be, then he needs to see the truth. All of it, the curse, the ugliness, the absolute worst of what she is. And when he sees it, when he realizes what he's actually proposing to marry, he'll retract his offer. Problem solved. Rose will be free of this impossible choice. Her stepmother will be furious, but at least Rose won't have to live with the uncertainty. Won't have to wonder if she's making the biggest mistake of her life. With grim determination, Rose begins to work. She ignores the basin of clean water and instead digs through the boxes in the attic until she finds what she's looking for. Old coal from the fireplace, leftover black paint from when they redid the shutters, ash from the furnace. She mixes them together with a little water to make a thick, dark paste. Then she begins to apply it to her face. Not delicately, not artfully. She smears it across her cheeks, her forehead, her chin. Mats it into her hair until the strands stick together in clumps. She makes herself look like something that crawled out of a nightmare. But she's not done. Rose grabs the neckline of her dress, her old servant's dress, not the one Vivian brought, and tears. The fabric rips easily, exposing her collarbone. Exposing the mark. She tears more, making sure the mark is fully visible. No collar to hide behind, no carefully arranged fabric. Just the dark, twisting pattern that everyone calls a curse, displayed for all to see. Rose looks at herself in the mirror and barely recognizes her own reflection. She looks terrifying, repulsive, like the cursed creature her stepfamily has always claimed she is. Perfect. If this doesn't make Lucian run, nothing will. At precisely 7 o'clock, the doorbell rings. Rose hears it from the attic, hears her stepmother's falsely cheerful greeting, hears Lucian's deep voice responding, hears her stepmother calling up the stairs. "Rose, Lord Draven is here! Come down at once." Rose takes one last look at her reflection, at the coal-blackened face and matted hair and exposed curse mark. This is it, the moment where she proves that fairy tales aren't real, that nobody wants the cursed girl, that she was right to be afraid. She descends the stairs. The foyer falls silent as Rose reaches the bottom step. Her stepmother's face goes white, then red. Vivian actually gasps, hand flying to her mouth. And Lucian? Lucian just stares. Rose forces herself to meet his eyes, to stand there in her torn dress and blackened face and let him see exactly what he'd be getting. The curse mark burns on her neck, fully exposed. And Rose sees Lucian's gaze lock onto it with laser focus. What? Her stepmother's voice is strangled. What have you done? I'm showing Lord Draven the truth, Rose says. And she's surprised by how steady her voice is. He said he wanted to marry me. This is me, the real me, the cursed servant girl with the devil's mark. So tell me, Lord Draven. She meets his obsidian eyes. Do you still want to marry this? The silence stretches. Rose can hear her own heartbeat thundering in her ears. Any second now, Lucian will make some excuse. We'll apologize for the misunderstanding. We'll leave and never come back. Any second now, Rose will be proven right. But Lucian doesn't leave. Doesn't recoil. Doesn't show any sign of disgust or horror or disappointment. Instead, he steps forward, closes the distance between them in 3 long strides. And before Rose can process what's happening, he's cupping her face in his hands, coal, and paint and all, and looking at her like she's the most precious thing in the world. "I would know you in any form, my queen," he whispers, and his voice is rough with emotion. "You could cover yourself in ash and rags. You could hide your face behind 1,000 masks. And I would still recognize you, because it's not your face I'm looking for, it's your soul." And Rose, his thumb brushes across her blackened cheek. "Your soul shines so bright, nothing could ever hide it from me." The mark on Rose's neck erupts with heat. Not painful heat, something else. Something that feels like recognition. Like coming home. And suddenly Rose is drowning in sensation. Lucian's touch ignites something inside her. Something that's been sleeping. Dormant. Buried. Under years of abuse and starvation and survival. It rises up like a tidal wave, and Rose gasps as power floods through her veins. Her vision blurs, then sharpens, and suddenly she's not just seeing the foyer. She's seeing everything. She sees Lucian's past, centuries of it. His true form, a vampire, flashing by in seconds. She sees battles and blood and a throne room carved from obsidian. She sees herself, not herself, but the woman she used to be, standing beside him, with a crown on her head and power crackling at her fingertips. She sees their love story play out across lifetimes. She sees herself dying, sees his anguish, sees the witch who promised him a second chance. And she sees their future. Dozens of possible futures, branching and twisting like tree roots. In some she runs. In others she stays. In one they build a kingdom together. In another, enemies tear them apart. But in all of them, the bond between them burns like a star. Rose comes back to herself with a gasp. She's gripping Lucian's wrists, her legs are shaking, and the coal paint on her face is streaked with tears she doesn't remember crying. "What?" she chokes out. "What was that?" Lucian's eyes are glowing faintly crimson now, no longer bothering to hide what he is. "Your power, your gift. It's awakening." His voice is reverent. "You're remembering, Rose. Not consciously, not yet. But your soul knows. It knows me. It knows what we were. What we can be again." Rose's stepmother makes a strangled sound. What is happening? What is this madness? But Lucian doesn't take his eyes off Rose. "I meant what I said. I will always give you a choice. If you want to walk away, if this is too much, I will respect that. But Rose..." His grip on her face tightens just slightly. "If you come with me, if you choose this, I promise you will never be powerless again. Never be a victim. Never be trapped. You will be my queen, my equal, my partner in everything. And I will spend eternity making sure you never regret giving me this chance." Rose should say no. Should run. This is insane. Ancient vampires and past lives and powers awakening. It's too much. Too overwhelming. Too impossible. But as she stands there in her torn dress and coal-blackened face, feeling power humming just beneath her skin, feeling the mark on her neck singing with recognition, Rose realizes something. She's already made her choice. Maybe she made it the moment she put his ring on earlier just to see how it felt. Maybe she made it when she came down these stairs. Or maybe she made it 200 years ago, in a life she can't remember. "Okay," Rose whispers. Lucian goes very still. "Okay? Yes, I'll marry you. She takes a shaky breath. "I'll come with you. I'll give this a chance." The smile that breaks across Lucian's face is like the sun rising. "You have no idea how long I've waited to hear you say that." He pulls her closer, presses his forehead to hers. "Thank you. Rose, thank you. Wait just a moment." Her stepmother finally finds her voice. "You can't just take her. There are contracts to sign, arrangements to make, a dowry to negotiate." "There is nothing to negotiate." Lucian doesn't even look at her. "Rose is coming with me tonight. My solicitors will contact you regarding the transfer of her father's estate back into her name, as well as appropriate compensation for the care you've provided." His tone makes it clear exactly what he thinks of that care. You'll find the sum more than generous. But, this conversation is over, finally. Lucian turns to look at her stepmother, and whatever she sees in his face makes her take 3 steps back. You have mistreated and abused my queen for 8 years. The only reason you're still breathing is because Rose hasn't asked me to end you. I suggest you count that as a blessing and not push your luck. Her stepmother's mouth opens and closes, but no sound comes out. Lucian turns back to Rose. Do you need anything from this house? Anything you want to take with you? Rose thinks of her mother's shawl, hidden in the attic. One thing. Give me 2 minutes. She runs up the stairs, grabs the shawl, and doesn't look back. When she returns, Lucian is waiting by the door. He helps her into the shawl, his touch gentle despite the power she can sense coiled inside him. Ready? He asks. Rose looks back one last time, at her stepmother's shocked face. At Vivian, who's watching with an expression caught between envy and something that might be relief. At the house that was once her home and became her prison. I'm ready. Lucian takes her hand, coal-covered, paint-stained, and all, and leads her out the door. A carriage waits outside, sleek and black, with horses that seem to shimmer in the lamplight. Lucian helps her inside, and the moment the door closes, the world outside seems to fade away. Rose sits across from him, suddenly aware that she looks absolutely terrifying. I should probably... She gestures at her face. I wasn't expecting you to still... I thought you'd leave once you saw... Rose. Lucian leans forward, takes her coal-stained hands in his. Do you want to know what I see when I look at you? Probably a nightmare? He laughs, soft and warm. No. I see a woman who has survived 8 years of abuse and cruelty, who endured starvation and beatings and constant humiliation, and still has the strength to stand up and fight. I see someone so desperate to test my intentions that she was willing to make herself ugly. He says it with quote marks in his tone, to prove a point. And I see my queen, the woman I have loved for 200 years and will love for 200 more. He reaches up and gently wipes some of the coal from her cheek. Nothing could make you anything less than beautiful to me. Rose's eyes burn with tears, real ones this time. I don't understand why. I know, and I will spend as long as it takes helping you understand. He produces a handkerchief from his pocket. For now, would you like to clean your face? Or would you prefer to meet my kingdom, looking like a warrior who's just come from battle? Because honestly, either works for me. Despite everything, Rose laughs. It's a watery, slightly hysterical sound, but it's real. I think I'd like to clean up. Just a little. Lucian hands her the handkerchief, and Rose does her best to wipe away the coal and paint. It's not perfect. She's definitely going to need a proper bath, but at least she doesn't look quite so much like a chimney sweep anymore. Better? She asks. Perfect, Lucian says, and the way he's looking at her makes Rose believe, just for a moment, that maybe he means it. The carriage has been moving while they talk, and now it stops. Lucian stands and opens the door. Outside, the world looks different. The street lamps are purple instead of yellow. The buildings shimmer with an otherworldly quality, and overhead, the stars are arranged in patterns Rose doesn't recognize. We're not in my world anymore, are we? Rose asks. No. Welcome to the hidden realm. Lucian offers his hand. Welcome home, my queen. Rose takes his hand and steps out of the carriage. And as her foot touches ground in this impossible place, as her mark flares with heat and power hums beneath her skin, she makes a promise to herself. She may not remember being a queen. She may not know how to wield whatever power is awakening inside her. She may not fully understand what she's gotten herself into. But she's done being a victim. Done being powerless. Done letting other people dictate who she is and what she's worth. If Lucian wants a queen, then by God she'll become one. Even if she has to figure out how along the way. Rose takes Lucian's hand and steps out of the carriage. And as her foot touches ground in this impossible place, as her mark flares with heat and power hums beneath her skin, she makes a promise to herself. She may not remember being a queen, but she's done being a victim. Done being powerless. If Lucian wants a queen, then by God she'll become one. even if she has to figure out how along the way. The moment her foot fully touches the ground, Rose's knees buckle. The world tilts violently, colors bleeding together in ways that shouldn't be possible. She gasps, and the air tastes like starlight and copper and something ancient that has no name in her world. Lucian catches her before she falls, one arm around her waist, pulling her against his chest. "Easy," he murmurs, his voice low and soothing. "Your body is adjusting to the realm. The magic here is thick. Humans usually need a moment to acclimate." "I'm not," Rose starts, but the words die as another wave of disorientation hits. She clutches at Lucian's jacket, her fingers digging into the fabric. "Everything is so loud." "I know, just breathe. Focus on my voice." His hand moves to the back of her head, gentle but grounding, in and out. "That's it. Let your body adjust." Rose does as he says, breathing slowly, deeply, and gradually, the overwhelming sensations begin to settle. The cacophony of sounds, heartbeats, she realizes, hundreds of them, fades to a manageable background hum. The two bright colors dim to something her eyes can process, and when she finally opens her eyes fully, what she sees steals her breath for an entirely different reason. They're standing at the edge of a forest, but nothing like the forests of her world. The trees are massive, their bark shimmering silver and black in the purple moonlight. Leaves glow with bioluminescent light, blues and purples and deep emerald greens. Flowers bloom at the base of the trees, their petals crystalline and luminous. And overhead, the sky is alive with colors that dance and shift like an aurora made of dreams. "It's beautiful," Rose whispers, still pressed against Lucian's chest. She can feel his heartbeat, slower than hers, steady and strong. "You used to say that?" Lucian's voice is soft, almost tender. "Every time we walked through these woods, you'd stop and stare like you were seeing them for the first time, even after 100 years. His arm is still around her waist, and he makes no move to let go. "I've missed hearing you say it." Rose tilts her head back to look at him. In this realm, he's different. More himself, maybe. His features are sharper, more defined. His eyes hold a faint crimson glow even when he's not showing his true nature. And there's a power radiating from him that he'd been containing in her world, something ancient and dangerous and utterly inhuman. But his touch is gentle. His expression, as he looks down at her, is soft with something that makes Rose's chest ache. "Are you afraid of me?" he asks quietly. Rose considers the question. She should be terrified. He's a vampire, a creature from nightmares and horror stories. He's centuries old, impossibly powerful, and she's completely at his mercy in a realm she doesn't understand. But when she looks into his eyes, all she sees is the man who touched her coal-covered face and called her beautiful, who gave her a choice when no one else ever had, who looks at her like she's precious. "No," she says and realizes it's true. "I'm not afraid of you." Something in Lucian's expression cracks. Relief, so profound it's almost painful to witness. "You have no idea how much I needed to hear that." His hand moves from her waist to cup her cheek, his thumb brushing away a smudge of coal she missed. "Rose, I know this is overwhelming. I know you don't remember our life together, don't remember loving me. But I promise, I swear on everything I am, I will earn your trust, your affection, and someday, if I'm lucky, your love." Rose's heart hammers in her chest. "What if I can't? What if I never remember? What if I'm not who you want me to be? Then we'll build something new." Lucian's voice is fierce with conviction. "Rose, I don't need you to be who you were. I just need you to be you, the woman who stood in her stepmother's foyer covered in ash and defiance. The woman who chose to come with me even when she was terrified. That's who I want. That's who I'll spend eternity cherishing if you'll let me." Rose doesn't know what to say to that. Doesn't know how to process the intensity of his devotion, so instead, she does something impulsive. Something she would never have dared in her old life. She rises on her toes and presses a quick, soft kiss to his cheek. Lucian goes completely still. His eyes flash bright crimson, and Rose feels the mark on her neck flare with answering heat. When he speaks, his voice is rough. "Rose, thank you," she says quickly, stepping back before her courage fails. "For seeing me. For not running when I tried to make you. For For everything. For a moment, Lucian just stares at her, his expression caught between wonder and hunger. Then he takes her hand and brings it to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles that sends electricity up her arm. The honor is entirely mine, my queen. The intimacy of the gesture, the way he's looking at her, makes Rose's breath catch. This is dangerous territory. She barely knows this man. But God help her. Something inside her is responding to him in ways she doesn't fully understand. We should keep moving, Lucian says, his voice still rough. The palace isn't far, but I'd rather not have you standing in the open forest all night. There are things in these woods that wouldn't dare approach you with me here, but I'd prefer not to test their restraint. Things? Rose asks, suddenly very aware of the shadows between the trees. Fae, shadow dwellers, lesser vampires. The hidden realm is home to many. Species. Lucian keeps hold of her hand as they begin walking down a glowing path. None will harm you. You're under my protection, and more than that, some of the older creatures will remember you. Remember what you were. A queen who commanded visions, Rose says quietly, remembering what he'd told her before. Among other things, you were formidable, Rose, powerful in ways that had nothing to do with visions. You had a presence that could silence a room, a mind sharp enough to outmaneuver enemy generals, and a heart fierce enough to love a monster like me without hesitation. He glances at her. I'm not telling you this to pressure you. Just so you know, you've always been extraordinary, with or without memories. They walk in comfortable silence for a while. Rose notices shapes moving. In the shadows, glimpses of beings that are decidedly not human. Eyes that glow in the darkness. Whispers in languages she doesn't understand. But none approach, and gradually Rose relaxes. Tell me about us, she says suddenly. About who we were together. I want to know. Lucian's grip on her hand tightens slightly. Are you sure? Some of it might be difficult to hear. I'm sure. So Lucian talks as they walk. He tells her about how they met. She'd been a human seer, hunted by those who feared her gift, and he'd offered her sanctuary in his realm. He tells her how she'd been terrified of him at first, how she'd tried to run 3 times in the first month, how gradually fear had turned to curiosity to friendship, and friendship to something neither of them had expected. You were the first person in 200 years who looked at me and saw more than a monster, Lucian says quietly. You saw the man underneath. The person I'd been before immortality twisted me into something else. And you loved that person, even when I didn't think I deserved it. How long were we together? Rose asks. 103 years. Lucian's voice holds old pain. We had a century together. Rose, a century of joy and partnership and love so deep it reshaped who I was. And then the war came and I lost you. Rose squeezes his hand. Tell me how it happened. How I died. Lucian is quiet for so long that Rose thinks he won't answer. Then finally, there was a rival vampire lord, Theron. He wanted my throne, my territory. War was inevitable. You saw it coming in your visions, tried to warn me, but some futures can't be changed. The battle was brutal. You fought beside me, insisted on it, even though I begged you to stay safe in the palace. His voice cracks slightly. You were magnificent, deadly. But an enemy archer targeted you specifically. The arrow was meant to kill me. You saw it in a vision and threw yourself in front of it. I saved you, Rose says softly. You died for me. Lucian stops walking, turns to face her fully. You died in my arms, Rose. And the last thing you said was, find me. You made me promise I'd find you, no matter how long it took. So when the witch appeared and offered to send your soul to be reborn, I didn't hesitate. I've spent 20 years searching for you. 20 years of not knowing if you'd even want me when I found you. But I had to try. I had to keep my promise. Rose reaches up, traces the line of his jaw with her fingers. The gesture is bold, intimate, but it feels right. You found me. I did. Lucian leans into her touch, his eyes closing briefly. And you're more than I ever dared hope for. You're not the same person you were, Rose. You're something new, something perhaps even better. Because this time you're choosing me. Not because of a bond or a century of history. But because you want to. I do want to, Rose admits, the word surprising even herself. I don't understand it. I barely know you, but when you touch me, something inside me recognizes you, knows you, and She hesitates, then pushes forward. I want to know more. I want to understand what we had, what we might have again. Lucian's eyes open, glowing bright crimson with emotion. You have no idea how much that means to me. He takes her hand from his jaw, presses another kiss to her palm. I will be patient, Rose. I will give you all the time you need. But know this, I am yours, completely. Whether you remember me or not. Whether you love me again or not. I am yours until the stars burn out. The intensity of his declaration should terrify her. Instead, it makes something in Rose's chest warm and expand. She spent 19 years being told she's worthless, being treated like she's nothing. And here's this ancient, powerful being telling her she's everything. It's intoxicating. Before she can second-guess herself, Rose closes the distance between them and presses her lips to his. It's not like the chaste kiss she gave him earlier. This is real, deliberate. And the moment their lips touch, the world explodes. The mark on Rose's neck ignites. Power surges through her veins like lightning. And suddenly she's drowning in sensation and memories that aren't quite hers but feel like they should be. She sees Lucian kissing her in a throne room, in a garden, in a bedroom bathed in candlelight. She feels the phantom weight of his hands on her body, hears echoes of whispered promises and declarations of love. The bond between them, dormant for 2 decades, roars to life. And Rose gasps against Lucian's mouth as it snaps into place. Lucian groans, his arms coming around her, pulling her flush against him. His kiss is careful despite the obvious hunger in it, giving her room to pull away, to stop this if she wants. But Rose doesn't want to stop. She wants more. She needs more. She parts her lips, and Lucian makes a sound low in his throat that's almost a growl. His tongue sweeps into her mouth, tasting her, claiming her, and Rose melts against him, her hands fist in his jacket, holding on as the world spins around them. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Lucian rests his forehead against hers. His eyes are fully crimson now, fangs descended, but his touch remains gentle. Rose, he breathes. My Rose, do you feel it? The bond? Rose does feel it. Like a golden thread connecting her chest to his. Warm and alive and utterly right. Is that what it is? This connection? It's our mating bond. It was there before, when you were my queen. It's what the mark on your neck represents. He pulls back just enough to look at her. When you died, I thought it was severed forever. But it wasn't broken, just dormant. Waiting for you to come back to me? Rose touches the mark on her neck. It's warm, pulsing in time with her heartbeat. What does it mean? The bond? It means we're connected. Soul to soul. Lucian's hand covers hers on her neck. It means I feel what you feel. Not every emotion, but the strong ones. Joy, fear, desire. His eyes darken. It means when we're together, we're stronger. Your visions will be clearer. My power will be more controlled. We complement each other, balance each other. And if I complete the bond? Rose asks, remembering something he'd mentioned before. You said something about completing it. Lucian's jaw clenches. Completing the bond means consummating it. Joining physically while the bond is active. It makes the connection permanent, unbreakable. He searches her eyes. But Rose, I'm not asking for that. Not now, not until you're ready. He gestures between them. This kiss, this connection awakening, it's already more than I dared hope for tonight. Rose should agree, should take things slowly. She barely knows him. This is all moving so fast. But as she stands there in this impossible realm, feeling the bond hum between them, tasting him on her lips, she realizes something. She's spent 19 years being careful, being quiet, being what other people needed her to be. And where did it get her? An attic room and endless abuse. Maybe it's time to be reckless, to take what she wants, to choose herself for once. What if I said I don't want to wait? Rose hears herself say. Lucian goes very still. Rose, I'm not saying tonight, she clarifies quickly. But I want to understand this bond. Want to explore what's between us. She meets his glowing eyes. Is that crazy? No. Lucian's voice is reverent. No, it's not crazy. It's perfect. You're perfect. He kisses her again, softer this time, almost worshipful. We'll go at whatever pace feels right to you. Fast or slow, just know that I'm here. I'm yours. Whenever you're ready. They resume walking, but now Lucian's arm is around her waist, keeping her close. Rose leans into him, marveling at how right it feels. How safe she feels, despite being in a foreign realm with a vampire who could kill her with a thought. But he won't. She knows that with absolute certainty. This man, this creature, would burn the world before he'd let anyone hurt her. As they round a bend, the trees open up, and Rose sees the city sprawling below them. Obsidian towers reaching toward the purple sky. Buildings of black stone and silver connected by impossible bridges. And at the center, a palace carved from the mountain itself. So massive and beautiful it takes her breath away. That's home, Lucian says. It's incredible. Wait until you see the inside. He guides her down the path toward the city gates. Your chambers are exactly as you left them. I've kept everything. Your books, your paintings, your clothes. I couldn't bring myself to change anything. Rose's steps slow. Lucian, what if your people don't accept me? What if they think I'm not good enough to be their queen? Lucian stops, turns her to face him. Rose, you saved this kingdom more times than I can count. Your visions prevented wars, stopped assassinations, guided us through plagues and famines. My people loved you. They mourned you. And they will love you again. He cups her face in his hands. But even if they didn't, even if every single person in that palace rejected you, you would still be my queen. Because I choose you. And I'm the king. My word is law. The certainty in his voice, the absolute conviction, makes Rose's eyes burn with unexpected tears. I don't deserve you. You have that backwards, my love. Lucian kisses her forehead, soft and sweet. I don't deserve you. But I'm going to spend every day trying to be worthy of the gift you've given me by coming here, by giving us a chance. As they approach the city gates, Rose notices beings gathering to watch. Some look human. Others decidedly don't, but all of them are staring at her with expressions ranging from shock to joy to desperate hope. She's returned, someone whispers. Our seer is back. Lucian must feel Rose's tension because his arm tightens around her. When they reach the gates, he stops and addresses the growing crowd, his voice carrying with supernatural power. My people, your queen has returned to us, reborn as the witch promised. But she does not yet remember her life here. She is learning, adjusting, and I expect every one of you to give her the time and space she needs. His eyes flash crimson in warning. Anyone who pressures her, frightens her, or makes her uncomfortable will answer to me personally. Is that clear? A chorus of "Yes, my king" ripples through the crowd. Lucian guides Rose through the gates and into the palace. The moment they're inside, away from watching eyes, Rose sags against him. That was intense, she admits. I'm sorry. I should have brought you in more. Quietly. Lucian leads her through corridors that seem to stretch forever. But word would have spread regardless. The return of a dead queen isn't exactly subtle news. They pass servants, elegant beings in dark livery who bow deeply as they pass. Rose tries to memorize faces, but there are too many. Finally, they reach a set of ornate double doors. Your chambers, Lucian says, pushing them open. Take your time. Look around. There's a bathing room through that door, he points. And I've already sent word to have hot water drawn. You can wash away the coal and paint properly. Rose steps inside and her breath catches. The room is enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The furniture is elegant. A massive four-poster bed, comfortable chairs, a desk. And the walls are covered in paintings. Dozens of them. All of her. The woman she used to be. I'll leave you to rest, Lucian says from the doorway. But Rose, if you need anything at all, pull that bell. Cord. He points to an ornate pull. Beside the bed. Someone will come immediately. Or if you want me specifically. He trails off, looking almost uncertain. My chambers are just down the hall. You're welcome any time. Rose crosses back to him, rises on her toes, and kisses him again. It's brief but sweet, and when she pulls back, Lucian is looking at her like she hung the stars. Thank you, Rose says. For everything. For finding me, for not giving up, for seeing me. Always, Lucian promises. Then, with visible reluctance, he leaves. Alone in the room, Rose explores. She opens wardrobes to find them full of dresses more beautiful than anything she's ever seen. She examines the paintings, studying the face that's hers but isn't. And finally, she makes her way to the bathing room. It's not a room. It's a cavern carved from black stone with a pool large enough to swim in. Steam rises from water that's somehow hot without any visible heating source. Rose strips off her torn, coal-stained dress and her mother's shawl, carefully folding the ladder, and sinks into the water with a moan of pure bliss. She can't remember the last time she had a proper bath. Years, probably. Her stepmother only allowed her cold water and a washcloth. But this is heaven. Rose scrubs the coal and paint from her skin, washes her hair until it's clean and soft again. And as she soaks, she thinks about everything that's happened. 24 hours ago, she was scrubbing floors in her stepmother's house. Now she's in a vampire realm, kissing an ancient king, and apparently destined to become a queen. It's insane, all of it. But as Rose touches the mark on her neck, feels the bond humming warm and alive in her chest, she thinks maybe insanity is exactly what she needs. She's done being careful, done being afraid. It's time to become who she was always meant to be, even if she has to figure out how along the way.